Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Comic Shop Adventure, my weekly trip where I venture out of the homestead here at Athletic Geek HQ and go in search of a bounty of comics, collectibles, and whatever might come my way. As far as last week is concerned, there were three books that really stood out to me the most. The first one was the Batgirl versus the Riddler in the Prelude to the Wedding. I thought this was a very, very cool story. Nice little one-shot with pretty much just, Riddler playing his, deadly games, but just, the interactions and what he does. I can't talk about it too much without spoiling. I'm just saying if there's any more copies, go pick it up. He tortures different types of people from different walks of life, and then Batgirl saves them, and then there's a clue with that to go to the next person. And it's just a really, that story embodies what I like about the Riddler, and it embodies what I like about Batgirl. So it's a really, really cool story. I really enjoyed it. I've been kind of talking about cautious optimism, and the cautious optimism is still there, but Man of Steel by Brian Michael Bendis was very, very good this week. I really feel that as far as the DC heroes go, Bendis knows Superman's voice the best. There's some other parts of that book with other heroes where, maybe he doesn't quite understand how to write them just yet, but Superman, I believe, if there's going to be a DC superhero that Bendis can do and do well, it will be Superman. And, right now it's looking okay. We're gonna, again, and I don't mean to come across like a Bendis hater. I think he's a tremendous writer, but there have been books in the past where they've started off, like they were building to a big crescendo, and then, they built, and then they built, and then went, right down there to the, and I hate to say that, because some people probably like those stories, but that's how I felt about him, and that's just kind of where I feel about Bendis. Anytime I go into something with him, I have a little bit of caution, because of a couple instances where that happened. Other than that, the last one is Thor, the new Thor by Jason Aaron. I really enjoyed that. I'm going to keep rolling with this on the pull list for a little while. I don't dislike Thor. But Thor's never really been one of my favorites. Thor's never really been somebody who I really super duper geeked out over. He just I liked him as kind of a supporting character as part of the Avengers, and then I enjoyed the kind of comedic take on him in the movies, but, with all due respect to him, I don't dislike the character by any stretch of the imagination. He's just never been somebody who I really got into. I did enjoy the Jane Foster Thor that he wrote. That was a, nice little story, really cool how they did her as Thor, but, now with Odin's son being back, with the hammer, thought I'd give it a shot because I just like Jason Aaron's work, and it was really, really good. I'm going to keep reading it for a little while. Again, I don't know how long because I'm not such a big fan of Thor. It may take a little bit more to kind of keep me interested, but if it stays on the level that issue 1 is at, oh boy, it will keep me interested. It was a very, very good book. You should check it out if there's any more copies available at your local comic shop. But I am off now to retrieve my bounty, and I will meet back up with you here in a bit. Later. Hey everyone, I am finally back here at the homestead at Athletic Geek HQ, and I got quite the bounty this week on this week's adventure. We're not going to waste any more time. Let's jump right to it. We're going to start in the world of Marvel with Avengers number 3 by Jason Aaron. Been enjoying the book so far. I like Jason Aaron. As I mentioned earlier, he's made me add a Thor book to my pull list for the first time ever. And, I've liked his first 2 issues, and if he can keep up the good work, I'm going to keep reading Avengers, where it's the medley of Marvel characters that I really enjoy. So, yeah. Not really too much to say about it other than I like Jason Aaron, I like the Avengers. We're going to keep rolling with that. Which leads us to the next book, Daredevil 604, and again, on quite the opposite side of the spectrum with Jason Aaron. I keep buying this book just because I love this character. I have not been the biggest fan. It's been okay, but I've not really been the biggest fan of Charles Soule's run. That's no offense to Charles Soule. It's just not been my cup of tea, especially in comparison to the Mark Waid run before him. He's done some good things. He's done some things that have just been average. And, you know, sometimes when books just get average, they're not necessarily bad and I dislike them. It's just, it's one of those books, like I've mentioned before, where I'm just kind of going through the motions. At one point in time, the character or the title, the book, whatever, was really knocking my socks off. And then late, you know, in recent times, it's kind of gone downward. I'm hoping that it can bounce back up. I know that Charles Soule is capable of writing a good story. I have read good Charles Soule books, so I don't think I dislike him or his work. It's just this Daredevil run, not really my favorite, but, you know, I'm a big enough fan of the character, and it's still decent enough that I'm buying it. So, you got Daredevil 604 there. And from there, we have X-Men Gold, number 30. This is the Till Death Do Us Part finale, and just what an amazing cover, I just want to point out. This is just so cool. You've got, you know, Beast, the sensitive one, in there. You know, he's crying. You got the nice little Rogue and Gambit there. You know, they're enjoying seeing their two friends get married. You got Storm in the forefront as a bridesmaid. Just a really, really neat cover for a really, really neat book, and I hope it lives up to expectations. Heard me talk about X-Men Gold and the wedding of Colossus and Kitty Pryde for a long time, and, well, this is the finale of the story arc, so we'll see how it goes. And then finally, rounding up the Marvel from my pull list this week is Cable, number 158. This is just kind of, I want to say I'm kind of going through the motions on this book because I have really enjoyed it, but I really just read this because Cable's a relic from the 90s that I really like. I shouldn't say relic because he can be used in serious situations, and he ain't just, you know, part of the 90s comic boom to where things are just kind of as far as the writing. Cable can be used very well. See the Deadpool 2 movie for proof that Cable has a place in modern Marvel. But I'm always going to read something with Cable just because I always thought Cable was cool as a kid. So, Cable 158. We now head on over to the world of DC, and starting with The Man of Steel, number 4 of 6. The run of Bendis continues before he takes over on Superman and Action Comics ongoing. This is the miniseries set it all up. You heard me talk about how maybe he's got it. Maybe this is the book for him. Maybe this is going to be his next great masterwork. And the potential is there. You know, with my recording, you know, before I set off on the adventure today. So, yep, let's just hope it keeps going. Not really much needs said on the matter. From there, we go to Batman Prelude to the Wedding, Red Hood versus Anarchy. And, I mean, you heard me rave about the Riddler and Batgirl, but I'm interested to see how this goes, because this is two very interesting characters, and the dynamic between them might be pretty cool, because, you know, Anarchy's kind of this different type of villain, you know, he's kind of like, you know, he's an anarchist, you know, he hates even some of the bad guys and the other villains, you know, because they buy into this system that he doesn't like, and, you know, it's what makes him kind of an interesting character. He can be kind of a cliche character at times, especially in this day and age, but still a good character to have, and I thought he was portrayed really well on the Arrow TV show. One of the better parts of that season where he was on the Arrow TV show, but that's another debate for another day. Then you got Red Hood, who's kind of, I don't want to say the black sheep of the Bat family, but he's definitely takes things to a different level and a new level than the other members of the family do. You know, he kind of has no problem with guns. He's got no problem, you know, taking a life. So, just kind of, I'm interested to see the dynamic between these two characters. The Prelude to the Wedding titles have all been good to great so far, with, you know, last week's Batgirl and Riddler being the best. But, you know, we'll see how this plays out. Next up, we got Aquaman, number 37, and see my thoughts on Daredevil from earlier. I really liked this book when Rebirth first came out. It's been the best book at DC, and it's kind of turned into just kind of a motion book. I don't want to quit reading it because it's still not a terrible book, but on the flip side, it hasn't been rocking my world like it did when it first came out. So I'm remaining kind of loyal to it, but we'll just see what happens, especially with me potentially reading a lot more comics going forward. So, but there's that one, and then we have Hawkman #1, and this one was actually my local shop had a short order on them, so I wasn't able to pick this up last week. This book came out last week, so we're gonna give this a shot. I've heard some good things. I love Venditti. I love Hitch artwork, Brian Hitch's artwork, and Venditti wrote very well. So we'll see how Hawkman plays out. I've never really been big into Hawkman, but I liked Venditti's run on, with the Green Lantern titles, so we will see. We will see what happens, and it may be a pick of the week 2 weeks late, but I'll let you know next week if this is worthy of some of the praise it's getting online right now, in my opinion. From there, we go to Green Lanterns #49, Rebel Run, and continuing the story of Jessica. She's broken the rules, and Hal Jordan is pissed at her. So now she's on the run with her friend slash partner, partner on the core, not partner in a relationship kind of way. But Simon Baz, and good book, good story. We're gonna see where it keeps going. From there, we have Justice League #2. Scott Snyder was one of my picks a couple weeks ago. Scott Snyder's one of the best writers of this new generation of comics, and I thought he told a good story with #1. And if he writes this potential, this is going to be a legendary Justice League run up there with Morrison, and I sure hope he does. Like I said, it's kind of does a nice job, doing both. Having like a callback with the Legion of Doom, but like updating it so it could be like somebody who watched the Super Friends could get into this, newer story. It's just, I liked it, and I think he'll do a good job. Let's hope I'm right. And then from there we go to Batman #49, and I remember this also being a pick a couple weeks ago. Everything for the whole, the summer of weddings. We got Kitty Pryde and Colossus, and we have Batman and Catwoman, and the Joker's wanting to spoil the party. The last issue was very good with the Joker's narration being the only dialogue through it. And yeah, we're hopefully it continues. This Batman book's been very good, and yeah, just good books. Good books for fans of Batman. And finally, we have Batwoman #16, and this is, I've been touting the praises of Batwoman, and ever since I began this YouTube program, and yeah, I'm just gonna keep reading it because it's good. It's a great book. Great character. Read the book. It's great. I'm sorry I can't get better insight on the fact that it's just really good. You owe it to yourself to give this book a shot. I believe they have the trades out if you haven't read the full run, but yeah, it's worth it. It is very worth it. And to round things out, I found this trade paperback, Iron Man: The Industrial Revolution. It was in the discount bin for $5, so that could mean a number of things. But I thought $5, I'll give it a shot, and who knows, maybe when I eventually can get to it, this will be a graphic novel review. So, yeah, that was my bounty for the week. Let me know what your bounty at your local trip to the comic shop was. Well, in the comments section below. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you like what we do, and share the video if you enjoyed this. And if you like more content, please like the Facebook page at facebook.com/athleticgeek89 for more of all things geek culture, not just comics, but wrestling, video games, all sorts of stuff. Check out the Facebook page. But other than that, I'm out.